Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Tim's monthly real-time update. Welcome. This is update number 9, August going into September. I'm a little bit later than I usually am because I spent the first week or so of September driving all the way back from Victoria on the west coast, dropping in on folks along the way. So thank you for joining us. Eventually we are going to get to the drawing for the free living room performance in your living room, perhaps as I play with this, you can see your name somewhere in this bunch. Maybe your name isn't in this jar and you need it to be in this jar to be eligible for a drawing. So sign up on Patreon and we'll get you in there. The month gone by, we finally completed the summer email campaign, emailing to over 20,000 teachers throughout the United States. We're juggling that along with the preparation for doing a lot of conferences this fall and spring and winter. So I'm going to I'm gonna kind of hurry through some things here just because I realized that I do not have the power cord that hooks up this camera, so it's running on battery right now, and the battery has been sitting since I did the session in August, so I'm hopefully this will make it through without any trouble. Where I last left you, I was halfway through the Minnesota Fringe Festival. I had a good rest of the run, and I got this was we're going to call this show a critical success because just about every reviewer who saw it was extremely positive, as well as the audience who submitted audience reviews were very positive. But just to give you a few samples, at the Minnesota Fringe we had audiences calling this is Man Cave by the way, a frightening cautionary tale, an existential study of grief and despair from Dave Stagner, an engaging, poignant, and thought-provoking performance from Franklin Heller, dark and cynical, insightful and intelligent with humor sprinkled in here and there, definitely recommended, Heather Baldwin, poignant, flawless, places a dagger in the heart. The only audience sounds were squirms from those of us who aren't doing all that we can to address climate change. Thank you, Mark Weiger. And one of the audience members who saw the thing hooked me up with the DFL Senate District, I think it's number 35 or so, in Minnesota. I'm coming back there again to perform on November 1st, so that's awesome. If I can only set up one of those for each of these fringes I do, I will be operating in the black. I went from Minnesota to the Edmonton Fringe. Now, ran into a little trouble because I discovered I'd been on the road a month already and hadn't even given thought to the fact of whether I had packed my passport with me, which I had not. So I had to have it shipped to meet me in Great Falls, Montana, as I raced across Minnesota, the Dakotas into Montana to meet up with my passport. It was a day late arriving, so I was a day late for my tech rehearsal, which was not a problem because it's an easy tech for my show and I had 2 really brilliant technicians. Again, there in Edmonton, got some terrific response from audiences and from reviewers. With my premiere review of the summer was with Global News Canada, which gave Man Cave 5 stars, not 10 stars, but 5 stars. That's as high as they go. Todd James from Global News Canada said, even the most skeptical among us cannot help but hear the truth and the passion in this all too close to home story of impending doom. So I'm going to be featuring that one a lot on the promotions of this show, and looking forward to getting more bookings, perhaps in Edmonton and elsewhere. Victoria, again, people loved it, but tiny audiences. I think I suffered from just general wear down in fringe season because after 6 fringes, the Tampa Fringe, Orlando Fringe, Kansas City, Minnesota, Edmonton, finally coming up on Victoria Fringe, I think I was a little more lax as the season went on about pre-promoting my show. Whereas in Tampa, I started out writing the reviewers 3 times, sending stuff out to all of the climate, ecology, environmental groups that I could find. By the time I hit Victoria, I maybe sent to the press once, and that was about it. So, and I was rewarded with tiny audiences. One review that I pulled out of Victoria Fringe said, "This performer's delivery offers giggles at the right time. Mooney's voice, projection, and delivery is strong. The show offers food for thought for those concerned where humanity is headed." That was Edmund Sum of Two Hungry Blokes, a blog. So, along with all the work that I was doing on Man Cave, I also continued to work on the I, Asimov project. It's now down to 43,000 words. My goal is to get it down to 24,000 words to be able to perform something out of it. The keynote address is now entirely memorized, just now trying to get it up to speed so that it just automatically flows from one thing to the next, but I'm very excited about that. Thy Will, my other major project going on at the same time. It got its reading at the Advice to the Players Theater in New Hampshire. It went very well. I got it on videotape and can use that videotape to watch several times as I work to refashion, especially the character of the doctor in it, because right now he's just there to feed questions to Mary Sidney to give her some reason to talk at some length. I need to really kind of invest in who that character is, and I will probably have a new version of that ready to go within 24 hours. 24 hours. Let's say within 1 month. Within 1 month. And the second book of Man Cave, the one designed for young adults, is now published and available on Amazon. So go to Amazon or go to my website and order it from there, or just send me an email ordering it, or whatever you like. But it now contains a glossary. It contains a prologue for teachers to prepare their students for this particular play and to for advanced discussion of what the play is going to be about. It also removes 95% of the salty language. Also in the month gone by, I took a lot of photos out of Minnesota, Montana, on the road, going into Canada. A photo of my 5 stars decorating my poster, photos with good friends hanging out with in Edmonton, from Theater Gumbo to a group of friends from Orlando, driving to Victoria, meeting up with friends in Victoria, and then coming back across through Washington State. I did one more show, an extra show for friends in a living room in Washington State, which also went very, very nicely. So this month ahead, going into September, we're back to the school tour. School tour is always kind of a relief to me because I start making real money rather than worrying about selling one ticket at a time. I'm selling the show to one full booking at a time and extract a fee out of that, which is helpful. Later this week, I'm doing 2 Chicago area shows. One this Thursday night. I think it's 6:30 in Naperville, Illinois, at the North Central College in the, can I remember the name of the room? The Madden Theater. Please come catch me there. I think that should be a really responsive group of students, so you get a real feel how this plays. So that's Naperville, Illinois on Thursday, the September 12th. Then Saturday, September 14th, I'm back up in Waukegan, this time with a group called Family Piano. It's a piano sales business that has a small performing room that will be loads of fun. I'll be doing Lot-O Shakespeare at that one. I met up with those guys a few years back, and they were really responsive to a couple monologues I did in their space, and so they want me back. So that's great. Then racing on to West Virginia with a performance also of Lotto Shakespeare in West Virginia. I'd better get those lines back up and running. For September 17th, then a little bit of time in Maryland visiting my wonderful sister Maureen before heading to NACA, National Association of Campus Activities, promoting Man Cave and Shakespeare and Moliere and trying to line up bookings. I'm doing like 5 of those this year, and those are all really expensive. So your donations to the Timothy Mooney Repertory Theater are I am extremely grateful to them. Anyone else who gets this who is not yet either donating or maybe joining our Patreon campaign, please sign on. We could really use all the help that we can get, because right now just about all of our income may be going towards paying for these conferences. So that's in Chattanooga, September 26th to 29th. October, we're getting off to a great start with 2 shows in South Carolina. One of Lotto Shakespeare with the Spartanburg Day School. The other, Man Cave at Newberry College on October 2nd. From there, it's on to Gulfport, Mississippi with a couple more performances at one of the high schools there, maybe one of the colleges as well, and then racing on ahead from there into Houston to do APCA in Houston, October 11th and 13th. Obviously, I'm getting ahead of myself here because we're going, but from Houston on to California with a show at the Cal State Channel Islands doing Man Cave again. More to come, especially more to come November 1st, I think I mentioned. I will be doing that political group performance of Man Cave up in Minneapolis. If anybody missed the show in Minneapolis, this is your chance to catch it. And what else? Oh, a little celebration coming up probably right after that Man Cave performance in Minneapolis, because I've got a birthday coming up. And I try to arrange when I have one of those round numbers coming up, 30, 20, 10, 50, to be in the Chicago area and party with my friends. So if you're not planning anything, it looks like we may be doing something, November 2nd. So give me a shout out if you're going to be in the Chicago area on November 2nd. Along with this lovely video that I'm performing for you now, I also like to attach a little piece of work for my special Patreon members, and you will find attached to this month's email a copy of my brief one-man play, The Dog That Doesn't Bark, which was a kind of a hit back at the Minnesota Fringe Festival as a part of something called Fringe Orphans, and I'm starting to send it around again to other theaters to pick up on that. So with that, just a reminder, this is, as I've been reminding you all along, this is part of my ongoing Patreon campaign. You are my beloved Patreon subscribers. Thank you for being there for me. And it is just about time for the drawing. So I'm just going to try to mix this, tumble this as best as I can. You may notice that I'm looking into the lens of the camera, so I'm not seeing whose names might be on which piece of paper as I mix them up. And I'm going to hold that here and do a reach over my head to where I can't see it, and I have hold of one particular piece of paper. The winner this time is Mary Newcomb. Some of you may know Mary from her maiden name. She used to be Mary Jenks, that's right, and now is living out in the Quad Cities area. Mary, you are the winner of this month's living room performance. Oddly enough, someone else in the Quad Cities area, Taddy Callis, has also won a free living room performance, so that would be fun to schedule them both like back to back. So there's that. So I'm looking forward to all the excitement, getting the fall tour underway. I hope to see you on the road or at home or around somewhere. I love you guys. Thank you for all the support that you've given this project that we are making happen for students, schools, teachers around the country. I hope to see you all again very soon. Good night.